It's really funny. Mondays are my favorite days of the week. Everybody I tell that to thinks I'm nuts, but it's something I adopted several years ago because at the beginning of the week, you've got nothing but potential ahead of you. So that's why Mondays are my favorite day of the week. Anywho, welcome to the second episode of Mid Monday Minutes with Tom. Today we are still talking about the business plan, but I want to talk to you about the business plan from a specific angle. So last week I went into kind of the high level overview, let you know about an upcoming workshop that I'm putting together to build business plans. But today I really want to talk about the growth plan, right? Because it's cool that we all have businesses. I love that because we need to start somewhere. But let's face it, the average person, this is from the government. I didn't make this number up. The average entrepreneur makes $62,000 a year. So in some parts of the country, that's a really good income. In Southern California, you need about 4 of those. So let's start with where in the business plan this fits. So let's say you're in startup mode. You've just started, you've built a product, either a digital product or a physical product. And your first milestone really needs to be, how do I build this up so that I make $60,000 a year income? And then reverse engineer that to how many units do I need to sell in order to do that? Because until you're really making that first $60,000, it's a hobby, right? Because the IRS is going to look at it as a potential hobby as opposed to a business. So you want to make sure you get cash flow positive really fast. It's hard to do during COVID, but fortunately we're on the backside of that. Hopefully it stays that way. So plan to $60,000 income. After that, the plan needs to be, how do I grow this business to $1 million in revenue? And what do I need to do that? If you've got a digital product, again, this is going back to you're making a course, or you've got products that you sell online, or you have a digital storefront, or whatever that thing is. When you have a digital asset, you're going to make more money in profit if you have your value ladder set right. So there's a whole bunch of different layers to this that we could go into, but that'll be a better conversation during the workshop if you have questions about it. So let's say, for instance, that you have a digital product and you sell $1 million and it only takes you to get that done. Congratulations, by the way, that's awesome. But if that's the case, then your costs are not going to be very high. So your net income, after you take all your cost of goods out, your net income should be around 75% of your revenue. There are some digital companies that are making 95, 97%. I'm using 75 as a nice round number, just as this is an easy number to wrap our heads around. Okay. So yes, there are exceptions, but for the most part, this is what we need to think about. So you're going to pay yourself $750,000. Of that, Uncle Sam's going to want his cut. So just set aside right away 50%. Stick that into a bank account so that you can pay your taxes. At that level, you want to pay your taxes quarterly, but make sure you discuss that with a tax accountant and make sure you're following all the rules. I'm not that person, so I can't give you advice around that. But you've done that, and you've taken what's left over, and you look at it from the whole, and you're taking home 37.5% of your revenue, which is really good. You actually put yourself in the top 1% of earners by doing that, which is phenomenal. So what happens next, right? So you've got your $1 million in revenue. You've got your $375,000 a year in income post-tax. What's next? Well, next is to try to close the gap in your income up to $1 million. So you need to have income coming in of $2 million in order to have a take home of $1 million. These are very rough numbers again, I'm not a tax strategist, so you make sure you talk to your tax strategist about all these numbers. But if that's the case, what does it take for you to do $2 million worth of business that can become income? At this point, you're probably going to start needing to leverage some help. If you have a $2,000 a month product and you're going for $2 million, you have to be at $166,000 a month in top line, which if it's a $2,000 product is 80 units. Yeah, 80 units. So at 80 units, what is your time constraint? Where's your cutoff point? For most people, depending on the product, but let's use a consulting service. If you're giving 30 minutes a week to a client, at 25 clients, you're at 50 hours a week. At 50 clients, you're at 25 hours a week, which is doable. So realistically, at 30 minutes a client, you could go all the way up to 80, and you'll have a 40-hour work week of just face-to-face time. I want you to bear that in mind because there's still other things that happen in your business. You've got to do your support time. You've got to do your correspondences, whatever notes you need to prepare, whatever getting ready you need to do. That could easily add on 100% more time. So if you're doing 80 and you're working 80 hours a week, what does your life look like? That doesn't leave a whole lot of room for a satisfied life. So we want to really dial in what you need to do. If you had an assistant, how much extra time could you have with face-to-face time? If you had another consultant in your organization, how much more leverage could you do, right? But that's going to cut into your top line income. So you'll need to expand that number in order to hit your income targets. So that's really where I wanted to take this conversation today. It's understanding your scale-up model and when you need to bring people in to help with leverage, when you need to bring in other organizations to help with leverage, when do you need to hire a back office option, when do you need to have a call center, where do sales come from? All these different factors play into that growth model. So if you have questions around that, I've dropped my calendar into the comment section so that you can snag some time. But what I'd like to ultimately do is invite you over the next couple of weeks. I'm building out a workshop where we're actually going to go through and build out a full business plan in the workshop. Like most people, I want you thinking in the long run, right? Where do you want your business in 10 years? But I really want to gravitate all of your energy into the next 3 years, because over the next 3 years, you can see that amount of time in your brain. Over 10 years, it starts to get a little murky. But in 3 years, that's not that much, right? It's 36 months. What can you do across 36 months to get you from where you are today to $1 million in revenue? Or if you're already at $1 million in revenue, how do we get you to $1 million in income? If you're already at $1 million in income, how do we get you to 10 million in revenue? These are the levels that we want to look at. So depending on your business, depending on the scope of your organization, will determine what that business plan needs to look like. So I hope you'll join me for that workshop. It's going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks. Information is going to start flying around about it here probably in the next 7 to 10 days. But when we come back next week for episode 3, we're going to talk a little bit more about the business plan, but we're actually going to start doing a little bit of modeling concept. So I've walked you through what phases of your business we need to get you to. Next week, we're really going to walk through what the structure of each of those phases looks like and how that fits into the whole 960 method. So stay tuned. Be sure and do me a quick favor before you click off of here. Like this video, tell your friends about it, share it, bring other people over. I'd love to grow this channel out and help as many people as we can. So that's really where I've got your Mondays set up. I hope you end up loving Mondays as much as I do, the more we interact on them. But for today, I'd like to leave you with this parting thought. Your business plan is going to be the foundation of your business. So off of that, you'll be able to go out and explain to your clients how you do what you do. You'll be able to know which clients you want to talk to. You'll be able to talk to financial institutions about helping you garner leveraged funds where you need it. You'll also be able to talk to other professionals about how they can help you get inside your business and help get it structured in a way that works for you. So you're not alone. You're not alone. There's a ton of people that want to help you grow your business. I'm one of them, but I'm part of a network of other people that want to help too. And our team want to come in and really crank you up to the next level. There's lots of growth available. We all have unlimited potential. So let's take the time to really dial it all up and get over the line. That's it for Monday, Mid-Monday Minutes with Tom. I hope you have a fantastic and power-filled week. See you next week.